For nearly a decade, one proud football nation vanished. Not because they stopped playing, not because they stopped caring, but because they stopped winning when it mattered most. Ireland, once a team feared on the world stage, faded into the background of international football. Tournaments came and went. Names were called, and Ireland wasn't one of them. While the world celebrated new stars and rising nations, Irish supporters were left watching from their living rooms, wearing old jerseys, whispering the same question every cycle. Will we ever matter again? Some said it was the end of an era. That Irish football had been left behind by modern tactics, elite training systems, and the rise of powerhouse academies. Others blamed poor management, lack of investment, players choosing club security over national duty. But for the fans, the people who filled pubs, sang anthems into the rain, and followed a struggling team across Europe, it felt like something deeper. A story of a nation searching for its identity in football once more. Because this isn't just about qualification. This is about what happens when belief nearly dies, and a generation dares to bring it back. This is the story of Ireland's long road back. To understand the comeback, you must understand what Ireland once was. The late 1980s and 1990s were the golden age. World Cup nights that sent shockwaves across Europe. Giant-killing victories against teams far bigger on paper. The world saw Ireland as fearless, unpolished, but relentless. They didn't outskill giants, they outworked them. From Italia '90 to unforgettable European Championship moments, Ireland stood for defiance, for organization, for heart over headlines. But as football evolved, relentless effort alone wasn't enough anymore. The game got faster, more technical, more tactical. Ireland's pipeline began to dry up. Young players moved abroad sooner, sometimes too soon. Development systems lagged behind modern standards. And managerial instability slowly eroded momentum. The victories became rarer. The world moved on. After the high points came the hardest chapter. Qualification campaigns filled with promise, and ended with disappointment. One missed chance here. One late conceded goal there. The margins grew painfully thin, and Ireland kept falling on the wrong side. Playoff heartbreak became routine. Near misses piled up. Eventually the losses took a deeper toll. Crowds thinned. TV audiences shrank. Hope softened into frustration. A feeling settled among fans. We're not progressing, we're just surviving. While other nations invested heavily into grassroots systems and youth development, Ireland struggled to modernize at the same pace. Technical skill began to lag behind positional discipline. Pressing replaced passion. Speed replaced stamina. Ireland's traditional strengths, resilience, physicality, endurance, were still there. But football had changed. And Ireland hadn't kept up. Every fallen team faces a choice. Fade quietly, or evolve. Irish football entered its most critical phase yet. Youth academies came under review. Coaching standards were questioned. Domestic development regained attention. Younger players began getting opportunities earlier. Many were overlooked due to size or polish, but what they had was hunger. The new leadership focused on something simple. Stop trying to copy the giants. Build a modern Irish identity. Not flashy possession football. Not reckless pressing. But compact systems, ruthless discipline, and confidence on the break. The aim wasn't to dominate. It was to survive and strike. It was ugly football to some critics. But to Irish supporters, it felt familiar. Felt right. Slowly, quietly, a core took shape. Young players rose without fanfare. Not household names, but committed servants to the badge. This generation understood something their predecessors often struggled with. They didn't try to play like anyone else. They played like Ireland. Defend as a unit. Press selectively. Attack directly. Each match became a battle. Not for beauty, but for points. Results improved in increments. Draws against stronger opponents. Hard-earned wins in hostile stadiums. Confidence grew. And with it, belief returned. Fans noticed something had changed. Ireland wasn't collapsing late anymore. They weren't afraid to defend deep. They weren't intimidated by big nations. Slowly, they were learning to grind again. Then came the campaign that would define everything. From the opening match, there was urgency. No flashy promises. No wild expectations. Just a single aim. Win the matches we must. Home form became Ireland's fortress. Away fixtures turned into endurance tests. Absorb pressure. Survive. Steal a moment. Key matches swung on razor edges. Late goals. Last-ditch defending. Penalty saves that froze entire stadiums. The margins no longer punished Ireland, they rewarded them. Each result brought disbelief. Standings tightened. Suddenly, qualification looked possible. Still fragile. Still uncertain. But closer than it had been in years. The decisive match arrived under suffocating pressure. A must-get-result scenario. One mistake would kill the dream. The stadium held its breath. Early nerves shook both sides. Passes went wide, tackles flew strong. Ireland absorbed pressure the only way they knew how. Compact. Organized. Unyielding. Then the breakthrough. A moment of chaos. A scramble. A deflected chance. And the ball crossed the line. The eruption was instant. Not celebration, release. Minutes passed like hours. Defenders blocked everything. Goalkeepers refused surrender. And when the final whistle came, there was no roar, just disbelief. Ireland had qualified. After years away from the world's biggest stage, they were back. This qualification wasn't about trophies. It wasn't about rankings. It was about restoration. For fans who never stopped believing. For players who sacrificed club comfort for national pride. For a system that finally chose identity over imitation. Ireland's return proved something timeless. Football isn't owned by the giants. Only contested by the brave. They didn't win because they changed who they were. They won because they remembered it. The modern football world celebrates possession stats, superstar talent, and financial empires. Ireland returned with something simpler. Unity, structure, belief. No matter what results come next. This comeback already stands as victory. Because comebacks aren't measured by trophies alone, but by the courage to rise when you've been forgotten. Ireland rose again. And the boys in green are back where they belong. And if you believe football stories deserve to be remembered, if you love underdog victories, redemption arcs, and the moments that change the game forever, subscribe to the channel. We tell the stories behind football, not just the scores. And if this comeback moved you, join the community.